Hi friends, JB here. I wanted to share with you 5 books that had a huge impact on my decision-making process, how I think about finance, all those good sorts of things. And the best part here is that these books are actually interesting, not full of equations, very approachable, and they're not part of some larger finance course through a university or whatnot. They stand alone and they're very insightful. So, just like in Good Will Hunting, you too can get all this information for $1.50 in late fees. So the first book I want to go over is I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi. Ramit's whole point is that finance should be automated to the degree possible because a lot of finance is done over long periods of time, and being really diligent and having a lot of discipline in investing, and humans are notoriously bad at that. So his point is reduce the amount of choices humans need to make and automate it. Automate it as much as possible. Still have human input, human oversight, but reduce all the mundane things such as transferring money, investing, to some degree rebalancing, all those sorts of smaller items, and humans should stay to the larger points. He wants to eliminate as much human involvement as possible, which can sound morbid, morose even, but in its way I think it's a good thing because he says humans should be living their lives. Humans should be taking care of their families, hanging out with their friends, enjoying life instead of moving money around on a screen. Next book is Unconventional Success by David Swensen. For those of you who don't know David Swensen, he's a personal hero of mine. David is the leader, if you will, of the Yale endowment, Yale being the college, and he could have made an insane amount of money on Wall Street, but chose instead to work with the endowment and to really change what is available to current students and future students at Yale. His writing is very clear, very concise. He really eviscerates Wall Street over mutual funds and expenses there. In my opinion, it's first principles thinking about how you should consider investing, what the goals are of each investment, and how they integrate together. Third book is Antifragile by Nassim Talib, which, as you've guessed, is not a word, but it's a concept that Nassim is really trying to convey. Basically, the gist of it is that systems are built for when times are good, as opposed to when times are bad. It's important to think about how systems will react when things are in crisis, and when things are in crisis, things generally implode on each other and compound problems. And so Nassim argues that you should take some of your return during good times and use it to build a system when things are bad that will be anti-fragile, which is a great concept that we're always building with the best possible set of circumstances in mind, and that thinking to some degree is flawed, and that you should perhaps reverse your thinking in terms of how to build for when times are terrible. Fourth book is Thinking, Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman. This book is really all about how everyone makes terrible choices. And the point that he's trying to make is that you think that your decision-making process is consistent across circumstances, across time, and that's just not the case. Humans decide things vastly different for a good outcome versus a bad outcome. Just adding one slight variable in can change the output dramatically. So there's not a how-to improve section, if you will, of it, but it does make clear that all of our thinking is not as precise as we would hope it to be. Last book on this list is Principles by Ray Dalio. This book is based on a lifelong obsession, if you will, of trying to build a personal and business operating system that makes better decisions regardless of the questions and how often those questions have been brought up. Ray's point generally is that people don't know everything, and that if you start with a baseline of not knowing, a sort of scientific approach, you can generate a lot better answers to any set of questions if you gather the people who are more likely to know or weight that input in a way that values their knowledge set compared to someone who doesn't have as much knowledge or experience on a topic. By keeping track of this over time, you can really identify the decision makers and sets of intelligence that can help drive really good decision making, both for personal decisions and in business. Hope you found that helpful. Thanks for watching, and keep learning.